it's Emma and I'm back today for you with another video, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. 2025 has been an interesting year inside and outside of reading. So this tag is essentially going to be me talking about my reading year so far, my likes, my dislikes, the best things, the worst things, the works. I've got a stack of books here to talk to y'all about. Okay, so before we actually get started, I would really appreciate it if you guys would look down in the description box for all the links there that I have for you guys pertaining to stuff going on in the world right now, and those links will be down there for you guys to interact with and to share. And then down in the comment section, let me know whether or not you guys have read any of these books, whether you agree or disagree with anything I have to say about any of these books. Play along in the comments too. So with that being said, let's just get right into it. Question number 1 is the best book of the year so far, and y'all know me, I'm a bitch who can't pick one. These 4 books are the best books of the year for me because I just cannot stop thinking about them, or I have been continuously reminded of them throughout the whole year ever since I read them. And the first is Nightstrider by Sophia Slade. All right, this is one of the best fantasy books I have read recently. This book is over 500 pages long, okay? The world building, the lore, the magic system, the hierarchy, the plot, the characters, made over 500 pages fly by. This book is so good. I'm waiting for the second one with bated breath. Then we have Shark Heart by Habeck. This book is so special to me. It's so heartbreaking, but at the same time so soothing. There's just something about this book, and it's over 400 pages, and I read it all in one sitting. I cannot remember the last time that I've done that. All right, Shark Heart, it has become one of my favorite books of all time, and y'all cannot tell me otherwise. And then Ring Shout by Djéli Clark. I cannot stop talking about Ring Shout. Y'all have to muzzle me. This is an alternate history book, and I love alternate history and just the way it executes everything so well. All right, all in under 200 pages, might I add. And then lastly, Quicksilver by Callie Hart. Look, I did not expect to like Quicksilver as much as I did, okay? Like, not at all. This book, quite frankly, blew my ass out of the water. I loved this book. This book is a little over 600 pages, and like Nightstrider, just the way that the story handled itself, it made it fly by for me. This book was so much fun. Question number 2 is the best sequel that I have read so far. I haven't read many sequels, but the best one that I have read is Sanctuary by Rebecca Weatherspoon. All right, this is the second book in the Beards and Bondage trilogy. And the first book, which was called Haven, was okay, but if I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't really remember very often that I even read that book. Sanctuary, on the other hand, I love her.
She is the mother I never had.
Sanctuary has one of the best first chapters to any book that I have read in a while. The story is great, the plot is great, the romance is great. I love Liz and Silas together, okay? And I am so happy that they just get to live happily ever after Old MacDonald on that farm. Question number 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. Towards the beginning of the year, I made a video talking about 2025 releases that I want to read in the year 2025. So obviously I want to read the books that have been released very recently that are on that list and in that video. With that being said, as the year has gone on, I found a lot more new releases that I want to read, including The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling, which I think is supposed to be like a religious horror with cannibalism in it. It's right up my alley. Girl, y'all know, okay? And then secondly, The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Look, okay, y'all have influenced me. Y'all make The Night and the Moth sound like it's gonna be the piece that saves romantasy, and you know what, I'm down. And then I also have some new releases that I have physically that I am quite frankly waiting with bated breath to read. And they are Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab and Blood on Her Tongue by Joanna Van Veen. Vampire books, we're back! We are so back! All right, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I love V.E. Schwab's writing. And then Blood on Her Tongue, I think it's supposed to be gothic. I cannot wait. Question number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And I have 2. The first one that I'm really anticipating is Lore of the Tides by Annalise Sabrana. This is the sequel to Lore of the Wilds. And I'm gonna be the first one out here to tell y'all, Lore of the Wilds is not perfect by any means of the word. Okay, in my humble opinion, Lore of the Wilds should have honestly gone through another round of editing, but it was still entertaining for me. It was still so much fun. So Lore of the Tides, I cannot wait to read it so that the series will be done and the story will be done and I'll be able to have some closure, right? And then secondly, I am so excited for Brimstone by Callie Hart to come out. I loved Quicksilver, and Quicksilver ended on a cliffhanger. I think the cover of Brimstone will grow on me too. I just can't wait for the second book in the series. Now we get to question number 5, which is the biggest disappointment of the year. And I have a lot to say, okay? Because you know me, I couldn't choose just one. I have 3 most disappointing books of the year so far. The first being The Unworthy by Agustina Bastarrica. You couldn't tell me shit about Tender as the Flesh when I read it. So when I found out that Agustina Bastarrica wrote not only a 2025 release, but a 2025 release that's religious horror.
Yeah, stop playing. I mean, if they give me one right now, tear it up live.
And then I started reading it, and I felt like I had gotten slapped in the face. The first 25% of The Unworthy is okay. And then the next 50% of the book, pretty much the entire middle of the book, and then some, is such a slog to read, okay? Because it is repetitive, it is boring, and it is slow. And the writing does not help either, because as much as I love the writing in Tender as the Flesh, I don't know what was going on in The Unworthy, but wow, the writing in The Unworthy is just so abstract. It's cluttered with metaphors and similes to the point where you have damn near no idea what is going on, what is trying to be told. Just the ending is predictable. And then the second book that was really disappointing for me was Centaurs Volume 3 by Ryo Sumiyoshi. This was the entrance of a new story arc, and I just wasn't feeling it. There's a time jump in here that I don't think is done very well. There's new characters that are introduced that I just simply don't care about. And there are some stylistic choices with the whole series that honestly just made me want to stop reading it. And that is the impact and the speed lines. There are just too many, and they clutter the panel to where I can't see what's going on. And then the third most disappointing book of 2025 for me so far has been Bochica by Carolina Flores Cerchiaro. I think that this book should have gone through another round of editing. This book is way too fast-paced. It cannot sit with itself and therefore negatively affects all of the other storytelling elements in this book. For example, the writing is clunky. It's basically, she did this, she did that, then she did that. Yes, it's quick. Yes, it gets you through the story really rapidly, but there's no depth to it. It's very shallow writing. Second of all, the transition scenes aren't done very well. Our main character gets from point A to point B almost by magic. It's very jarring. Thirdly, our main character flits from one emotion to the other seemingly with no merit, all right? And that's because there isn't any time to develop to her characterization. So she just comes off as incredibly flip-floppy. Fourthly, there's a romance, which I don't think was necessary at all. And then fifthly, because there's a romance and because the book is too fast-paced, there isn't enough time to accurately develop the romance. So it just seems rushed. Everything just comes off as so heavy-handed. There's no depth to anything because there's no time to give depth to anything. So, yeah. Bochica, Centaurs Volume 3, and The Unworthy. Goodbye.
Get your ass up! We gotta get the fuck out of here now!
Question number 6 is the biggest surprise of the year, and other than Quicksilver, I am gonna tell y'all about A Curse of Blood and Wolves by Melissa McTernan. I am a notoriously picky romantasy reader, and I notoriously do not have a good history with Red Riding Hood retellings. This is a good romantasy book, and it is a good Red Riding Hood retelling. It's kind of loosely retelling Red Riding Hood, but you get the drift. I love the characters, Ruby and Rafe. The story is really good. The plot is really good. It ends on a cliffhanger. So I definitely want to pick the second book up, and just, wow. Quicksilver blew me out of the water, and then A Curse of Blood and Wolves tried to catch me and then just didn't. Question number 7 is new favorite author of the year, and I don't have one. I have not read a lot of books by the same author that I've really liked. However, there is one author that could potentially become a new favorite author, and that is Alexis Henderson. I read House of Hunger last year, I think, and I gave it 3 stars. I liked it, but it wasn't like, amazing, you know what I mean? And then I read Year of the Witching this year. Y'all don't get it. I loved Year of the Witching. It reminded me of The Witch, and it was just, it was so creepy and tense and atmospheric and like religious horror.
This is art, Mr. White.
Alexis Henderson, I am so open to reading almost anything she writes. Question 8 is newest fictional crush. Number 1, Rafe from A Curse of Blood and Wolves. I love that man. I love that man. I love that man so much. Oh my gosh.
Blanche. Relax, you're about to set off the smoke detector.
Number 2, I was not immune to Kingfisher. There are quite a few lines of Kingfishers that have been seared into my brain, and they will never leave. And then thirdly, Eric from Behooved. The way he's so soft-spoken, he's so quiet, and he's so sweet. And, you know, just, my man, and whom? My man. Question number 9 is newest favorite character, and I have 2, all right? And they're both named Ren. Ren from Sharkheart, and then Ren from Nightstrider. Ren from Sharkheart is just so relatable to me. She reminds me so much of myself, and she's just so raw and emotional and human. Oh, I love her so much. And then Ren from Nightstrider, she is cutthroat. She does what she needs to do. She is sick. She has wings. She is just awesome. She's funny without trying to be. And she just wants to be by herself. She's one of the main reasons why I love Nightstrider so much. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. Sharkheart.
Oh, Lord. Again.
This felt like a sickly, sweet hug. With just how heartbreaking, while at the same time, how heartwarming it was. Next, The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. If you know, you know. Weasel Plume. Skull. Years Past. Broke me like a dam. And then Sing Unburied Sing by Jesmyn Ward. This book is so emotional and so tense, and when you finally figure out what's going on and why everything is going on the way it is, I remember I had to pause the audiobook and then just cry. I just had to take a break. It was so much piled together, and it was such a revelation, and the way it was done was so good. Sing Unburied Sing is fantastic, and I don't see a lot of people talking about it. Question number 11 is a book that made you happy, and I gotta go with Behooved by M. Stevenson. This book was just so much fun to read. It felt like a breath of fresh air. This book just reminds me of so many pieces of media that I love. For example, it reminds me so much of Howl's Moving Castle with how whimsical it is. And yes, it still has some pretty dark parts, but it kind of focuses on the whimsy aspect of it. And Lady Hawk. I love Lady Hawk. Lady Hawk is one of my favorite movies of all time. And the second that I read the synopsis, it reminded me of Lady Hawk, and I pre-ordered this bitch. Question number 12 is favorite book to film adaptation. None. I haven't watched any so far. I don't know if it counts because I haven't read either of the books, but I am really interested in seeing Mickey 17 and the Running Man adaptation. Question number 13 is the most beautiful book you bought this year, and it's gotta go 1 to Babylonia by Costanza Casati. All right. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's an embossed knife. And then Bare Bones in the Midnight Soil. Okay, enough said. Question number 14 is, what books do you need to have read by the end of the year? And all of those damn new releases. Oh my gosh. I also want to have read all of the monster romances on my TBR cart, which are A Soul to Heal by Opal Rain, Enthralled by Tiffany Roberts, and then Sweetling by S.E. Wendell. These 3 books I have been wanting to read for a while, and I just haven't had the balls to pick them up, and I think it's time. Lastly, question number 15 is your favorite video that you've made so far this year. One of them has to be my tier ranking 2024 movies video. I love tier ranking videos. I hate editing them, but tier ranking videos are so much fun for me to do. And it was just a culmination of having watched all of those movies over the course of a year. It was so satisfying. And then secondly, I loved making my last reading vlog that I did. That reading vlog made me feel so productive because I finished 4 books all 4 books, might I add, in that reading vlog. I was so happy. So you guys, that has been the mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope that we all have a good latter half of a reading year. I hope we all get to read the books that we want. I hope none of us are sent to 1-star, 2-star DNF jail, because that's where I was all last month.
I kid you not, I have seen some shit.
I am an escapee from the 1-star, 2-star DNF jail. I'll be damned before I go back, okay? So you guys, with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you continue to look out for more stuff on my channel. I hope that you guys are staying safe. And lastly, I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.